Hi guys, welcome to the Shackles of Debt, where we talk about money tips, debt freedom, and financial literacy. Today, I want to talk to you about bailiffs. More specifically, what bailiffs can and can't do. I will be speaking specifically about bailiffs in the United Kingdom, so England, Scotland, and Wales. So it won't really be applicable to people in different parts of the world because their debt collection processes are slightly different to those in the UK. Since starting this channel, I've had quite a few people message me asking how they can deal with bailiffs, or they feel afraid that someone might knock down their door during the night and try and take their stuff, or that creditors might visit them. So this video is just to give those people some reassurance and to also tell people what their rights are when bailiffs come, and also what bailiffs are allowed to do and what they can't do. What are bailiffs? A bailiff is an enforcement agent that has the legal right to collect debts on behalf of a company or a creditor. They can visit your home, they can take your belongings and sell them in order to repay the debt. Bailiffs collect a wide range of debts, including county court judgments, council tax arrears, parking fines, and child maintenance arrears. By the time a bailiff is dispatched, normally a creditor would have tried to make contact with you several times. There would have been several opportunities for you to start a payment plan or to pay back the debts that are owed. Nevertheless, if it does get to a point where bailiffs have been dispatched or bailiff action has been threatened, it's important for you to know what they can and can't do, because that will stop them from taking advantage of you. A bailiff is normally dispatched or sent to your house if a court has ordered it. So it's a court-ordered action. However, if you owe money to the government, i.e. HM Revenue and Customs, then bailiffs can be dispatched without any court action. Before a bailiff is dispatched, they normally send out a letter called a notice of enforcement. A notice of enforcement is basically notification that bailiff action is going to take place, and you have 7 days to respond to this. If you don't contact them within that 7 working day period and arrange a payment plan or to pay off the debt, then bailiffs will be dispatched to your home. Here's what you need to do when a bailiff arrives at your house. The most important thing for you to know is that when a bailiff does attend your address, you don't have to let them in. They are not allowed to forcibly enter your home by pushing it open or by forcing entry. You have to invite them in, or they have to be willingly invited, and they are not allowed to force entry. You should ask to see their ID, you should confirm what company they're working for, and you should also ask to see the notice of enforcement letter to make sure that this is actually a legitimate person instead of someone that's trying to rob you and masquerading as a bailiff. You should carefully examine the notice of enforcement letter because it should state all of the debts that you owe and the exact amounts, and you should verify this for yourself. The bailiff can pass all of this information through the letterbox, so their ID and the notice of enforcement letter, that can be passed through the letterbox or underneath the door. You don't have to let them into your house in order to see this documentation. If they can't provide proof of identity, or if you're not happy with the proof of documentation that they've given you, you are allowed to send them away. And if they refuse to go, you are allowed to call the police, because now that person is just trespassing on your property. The bailiff will ask to enter your home, but again, you are under no obligation to let them in. And if you do let them into your home, then what they will do is they will have a look around at your house, and they can have a look around at some of your possessions, and they will take a list. They won't normally take items straight away, but they will make a list of valuable items that can then be sold at auction in order to repay your debts. The only bailiffs that are allowed to force entry into your home are bailiffs that have been dispatched by HM Revenue and Customs. So you need to be careful about which debts you owe, because that will determine whether or not they're allowed to force entry or not. Any other debt, they can't force entry. They have to be invited into your home. But with HM Revenue and Customs debt, so that's normally like your tax bill or anything that you owe to the government, they can force entry. So I would always recommend that you pay all of your government debts, because the government doesn't play around. The government will come for you. So government debts are things like your tax debts, your parking fines, child maintenance arrears, things like that. You should really, really be careful. When the bailiff does visit, you can actually arrange with them a payment plan. You can speak to them and say, look, guys, I know I've been ignoring this debt. I know things are quite bad, but let's come up with an arrangement. And most of the time, they're happy to do that. Sometimes bailiffs can refuse an offer of a payment plan. And in that case, you need to contact the creditor directly, because normally the bailiff is acting on behalf of the creditor or on behalf of the company. So you need to go straight to the source and speak to them yourselves. Let's talk about what bailiffs can and can't do. What can they do? Number one, they can take items that are outside your house. So if you have things in your driveway or in your front lawn, they are allowed to take those items, but they can't take something that you don't own. So if you have a car that is on lease or that's on finance, you technically don't own that. So they can't take that. But if your car is fully paid for and is sitting there in your front garden, then they can take it. Again, like I said, bailiffs that are dispatched by HM Revenue and Customs are allowed to force entry into your home. They can take items such as jewelry, furniture, TV, games consoles. Another thing that they can do is to create something called a controlled goods agreement. What this means is that you agree to pay back the debts as part of a payment plan. But if for whatever reason you miss a payment or you default on your payment plan, that means that the bailiff is allowed to return to your home and seize your goods. Now let's talk about what bailiffs can't do, because there are quite a lot of things that they can't do. So number one, they can only visit you after sending you a notice of enforcement letter. If they haven't sent you a notice of enforcement letter, or if you haven't received it, then they are not allowed to visit you. It's only after that letter has been sent and after you've failed to respond to it within that 7 working day period that they can visit. Another thing is they must enter your home peacefully and with your consent. And what that means is they can't run to your back garden and then come in through your back door. No, they must enter through your front door. They must be invited in by you. And if they are doing otherwise, if they're trying to force entry, unless they're from HM Revenue and Customs, then you can call the police. They can't enter your home if there's a vulnerable adult or someone under the age of 16 in the house. So for example, if someone is self-isolating or they have got a disability or an illness, or you've got young kids in the house, they can't enter the house. Unless you invite them in, of course. Another thing, they can't visit you in the middle of the night. So they can't visit you between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. So if a bailiff turns up at 1 a.m., that's completely legal. They're not allowed to do that. They can only come to your house between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. Another thing is they must enter through the front door. They can't force entry any other way. Like I said earlier on, they can't go through the back garden, through the window, climb on the roof. Any of that, that's not allowed. It must be through your front door. They can't take work tools that are valued at less than £1,350 because otherwise you won't be able to work. They also can't take essential items such as your fridge, your cooker, bed, clothes, phones, or any essential items that you need in order to survive. Being in debt is really challenging, and if it gets to a point where bailiffs have been dispatched, I can completely understand it's a very devastating situation to be in. But it's really, really important for you to know your rights if it gets to that point. So again, don't let them in if you don't want to. They can only be invited in. They can't force entry and they can't take your essential items. And it's really important for you to try and arrange a payment plan, or at least to offer something in order to stop them from coming back again. Have you experienced bailiffs before? Have bailiffs ever visited you? Or have you ever been threatened with bailiff action before? I want to know. Let me know in the comment section down below. And also don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. It really helps the channel to grow. And also for more information and for more resources for how to deal with debt, you can visit theshacklesofdebt.com. Everything will be in the description down below. Thank you.